Good Friday morning, and thanks for joining us from the Ohio AgNet, the voice you know with the news you trust studio, sponsored by BASF and Veltima Fungicide. Proven number one for the toughest corn diseases with long-lasting residual when you need to be confident your fungicide will perform. I'm Dusty Sonnenberg reporting. Under clear skies, 47 degrees on the barn thermometer. It cooled off last night, but looking for a high in the 80s today. For some, another great day to get things done out in the fields. For others, just a chance to dry some things out. This quick reminder, it's just a month away, but June is National Dairy Month, and you can celebrate with the American Dairy Association Mideast and learn more at drink-milk.com. Taking a look at your agricultural headlines, there is a new AI tool available that can help farmers make potential replant decisions. Now, the research behind this was paid for in part by the Ohio Soybean Council. It's called Field Vision AI, and it's a free open source web application that allows farmers to upload photos of corn and soybean stands and receive stand count information. It also provides information about the uniformity of the stand. Now, growers can use photos taken with a phone or a drone as long as the image is clear enough to show row differentiation and plant spacing, and after uploading and processing the image, the tool estimates the stand count in the photo and provides a per acre average. To learn more about the Field Vision AI app and check out the link, you can read the full article today at ohioagnet.com. Now, speaking of evaluating corn and soybean stands, let's check in with Ty Higgins as he cautions against simply doing a windshield survey.
As corn and soybean fields emerge across Ohio, many stands may look good from the road, but agronomists say now is the time to step into the field and take a closer look. Early stand scouting can uncover planter performance problems long before they show up at harvest. Research from The Ohio State University shows that corn plants emerging even a few days late rarely catch up to neighboring plants. In fact, if half a stand emerges about a week late, total field yield could drop 5 to 10%, even when plant population still appears acceptable. Scouting shortly after emergence helps farmers identify uneven emergence, skips, variable seed depth, and spacing issues caused by soil moisture, residue compaction, or planter setup. Using as-planted maps can also help pinpoint areas where downforce, singulation, or ride quality may have affected emergence. While there may be little chance to fix this year's issues, the information gathered now can help improve planter settings and management decisions for next spring, leading to more consistent emergence and stronger yields in the future. You can read more about not judging the corn and soybean stand from the road online now. An article from Dr. John Fulton with Ohio State at ohioagnet.com. I'm Ty Higgins reporting.
Thanks, Ty. Well, Ag Credit recently announced the results of their latest director election. Let's check in with Joe Everett as he shares all the details.
Ag Credit has announced the results of the latest Board of Directors election. Terry McClure of Grover Hill and Steve Reinhart of Bucyrus were both elected to serve new terms on the board. McClure represents Paulding, Putnam, and Van Wert counties, while Reinhart represents Crawford and Morrow counties. Both were first elected back in 2023 and are now serving their second terms. McClure operates a grain and livestock farm, while Reinhart farms and also owns a seed company. Reinhart additionally serves as the Crawford County Treasurer. Ag Credit serves farmers, agribusinesses, and rural homeowners across northern Ohio as part of the Farm Credit System, which has been providing agricultural financing for more than a century. To learn more, you can find this full article today at ohioagnet.com. Reporting for the Ohio AgNet, I'm Joe Everett.
Thanks, Joel. Let's turn our attention now to the weather and get an update on our Friday and through the weekend weather forecast. This weather update brought to us by Seed Consultants. Simply better performance. You can learn more online at seedconsultants.com.
Clear and warm through your Friday. I'm Chief Meteorologist Ryan Martin with that Ohio Ag Weather Update. We've got a wide open, dry, sunny, warm window, excellent evaporation, great dry down from today right on through the weekend and through at least Thursday of next week. No threat of rain at all. Strong high-pressure dome sitting over the Great Lakes region. You get to next Friday, we see a little bit of hit-and-miss action coming up into southern parts of Ohio initially, and then we see some northwest moisture coming in through the overnight Friday night and Saturday. Combined over the 2 days, a tenth to likely half an inch. Could see an outside three-quarters if thunderstorms come together right, but that's going to be our next shot at moisture. It's over a week away. Going then behind that, we dry down for Sunday the 7th, Monday the 8th, 8th, Tuesday the 9th, Wednesday the 10th. Honestly, I don't see our next round of moisture coming until maybe a frontal boundary sweeps through the eastern Corn Belt late for the 12th and 13th. I'm Ryan Martin.
Thanks, Ryan. Stay tuned. We'll be back with more after this.
Wake up, Ohio farmers! Ohio's Country Journal is bringing the coffee to you. We're stopping by rural coffee shops, diners, and your favorite morning gathering spots across the state. And while we're there, the first 25 folks through the door get a free cup of coffee, a limited edition Ohio's Country Journal mug, and the latest issue of OCJ, all on us. Want us to visit your hometown hangout? Head to ocj.com/coffee shop and sign up your local spot today. Brought to you by Leist Mercantile and Ohio's Country Journal, your source for Ohio farm news.
Be aware, ticks are there. As you head outdoors, remember to avoid tall grass, wear light-colored full-coverage clothing, and use EPA-registered repellent. Be sure to thoroughly check for ticks after you head in for the day. If you find any ticks, remove them carefully with tweezers and watch for symptoms such as fever, headache, or rash. For more information on ticks and tick bite prevention, head over to ohio.gov/ticks.
In other agricultural headlines, biomass diesel is scrambling to reach 90% capacity as there are record renewable fuel standards taking effect. Historically high biodiesel volumes in the renewable fuel standard took effect in March of this year, and already the industry has seen the beginning of a bounce back after years of struggling. Now, the main question is, how does an industry go from 0 to 100 on a shortened track in 2026 and the years to come? Kurt Kovarik, Vice President of Federal Affairs for the Clean Fuels Alliance America, said that as soon as the volumes were finalized, the industry started to respond to what were the highest biomass-based diesel volumes in the history of the RFS for 2026 and 2027. Now, he said, in my view, the biggest challenge is just simply going to be the quick ramp-up time that's going to be necessary to get the feedstocks produced, to get it to the fuel producers, and get the fuel producers back online. If you look back at 2025, the industry was operating at 50 or 60% capacity simply because of the low RVOs and the uncertainty in the tax policy. So flipping those plants back on doesn't just happen overnight. You have to have contracts in place for fuel. You have to have contracts in place for feedstock. I think we're going to see, as this RVO came out, that we're going to be operating at 75% or higher. The EPA indicated we need to be operating at close to 90% for the remainder of the year. I'm confident we will be able to do that, he said. For context, the 2025 RVO was set at 3.35 billion gallons, Kovarik said, yet the industry was already above that volume in 2023 and well above 5 billion gallons in 2024. The new volume for 2026 came in at 5.4 billion gallons, which was above the 5.25 billion that the industry was looking for. Kovarik said that for the longer term, however, the EPA needs to start work on the RVOs for 2028 and beyond. The additional years are needed to provide the certainty for investment beyond the 18 months to 2 years. Now, during the recent debates and vote on the year-round E15 in the U.S. House of Representatives, most ag and biofuel groups were behind the push to get the measure passed. The American Soybean Association was one of a few groups that expressed concern that biofuels such as biomass-based biodiesel could be nudged out of the RFS for more ethanol to meet the E15 demand. Kovarik said that E15 could displace some biomass-based diesel gallons. In addition, he said there is some concern about how the bill includes reforms to small refinery exemptions, including the automatic granting of some exemptions. If the measure passes the U.S. Senate and becomes law, however, the biomass-based diesel industry will have a chance to make their case. The key component of that doesn't take effect until 2028, Kovarik said. So we have an opportunity to advocate for the biomass-based diesel industry to go to the EPA. And if this were to become law, I think we would essentially know exactly how many refiners would receive an SRE. We would know exactly how many gallons of petroleum would be exempted. So we can do the math and figure out exactly how many gallons it is that the biomass-based diesel industry would lose from the deal. A lack of certainty has been a thorn in the side side of the biodiesel industry dating back to the early days of the RFS. Now, although the biomass-based diesel industry has made progress with the new RFS volumes, still unresolved guidance on the 45Z clean fuels production tax credit is a drag on the industry confidence. With the ongoing conflict with Iran and the recent uncertainty surrounding the Strait of Hormuz, Kavarik said it illustrates the importance of continuing to expand production of biofuels here in the United States. In other agricultural news, fertilizer prices tracked by DTN for the third full week of May displayed a situation that's not been seen since the second week in February. That's where two of the nutrients prices moved lower. That's a run of 14 straight weeks of higher prices. Two fertilizer prices were slightly less expensive, while the remaining six being tracked were slightly higher. Now, two fertilizers lower were potash and UAN 38. Potash had a nationwide average price of $494 per ton, while UAN 32 was $586 per ton. The remaining six fertilizer prices were slightly higher, again, not to a surprise. DAP had an average price of $912 per ton, while MAP was at $953 a ton. Potash came in at $494 a ton. 1034.0 was $724 a ton, anhydrous ammonia $1,118 a ton, and UAN 28 came in at $531 a ton. So if we break that down to a price per pound unit nitrogen basis, the average urea price was 90 cents per pound unit nitrogen, anhydrous ammonia was 68 cents per pound unit nitrogen, UAN 28 came in at 94 cents a pound, and UAN 32 was 92 cents per pound unit nitrogen. Now, all eight fertilizers are still higher in price compared to where they were a year ago. Potash is up 5%. 1034.0 is 9% more expensive than last year. DAP is 14% higher. MAP is 15% more expensive. UAN 38 is 19% higher, while urea is 27% more expensive, and UAN 28 is 28% more expensive. Topping it off, anhydrous is up 44% compared to last year. Stay tuned. We'll be back to take a look at your markets after this.
Looking for heavy equipment but don't know where to buy? Purple Wave Auction has you covered. Always online and always no reserve. It's your destination for construction or ag equipment ready to work. We even sell semis, trailers, and fleet equipment for your operation. Best part? It's free to join. Head to purplewave.com. That's purplewave.com. Sign up for a free account and start bidding today. Purple Wave Auction, the easiest and most straightforward way to buy and sell equipment.
Hi, I'm Tyler Miller, a soybean farmer from Crawford County. When I grow soybeans, I'm not just raising a crop, I'm creating fuel at home. Biodiesel adds nearly $2 to our bushel price and strengthens our energy independence. If you're not using biodiesel on your farm, now's the time. If you're not sure how to get it, ask your local fuel supplier. Ready to turn last year's crop into this year's fuel? Learn more at soyohio.org.
This message is brought to you by Ohio soybean farmers and their checkoff.
Taking a look at your livestock news, cattle and calves on feed for slaughter marketed in the United States for feedlots with a capacity of 1,000 or more head totaled 11.6 million head on May 1st of this year. That inventory was 2% above what it was a year ago, according to the USDA's National Ag Statistics Report. Now, marketing of fed cattle during April totaled 1.64 million head. That's 10% below where it was in 2025. And placements in feedlots during April totaled 1.7 million head, 6% above 2025. Let's take a look at what's impacting the grain markets. Today's market analysis is brought to you by the Louis Dreyfus Company. Excited to bring a brand new soybean crush facility to Upper Sandusky, Ohio. Learn more about marketing your soybeans with LDC at 574-566-2113.
Grain markets finished the Thursday trading session mixed. Corn and beans up, bean oil up big. Wheat markets were down in Kansas City and Minneapolis, but a little bit firmer, penny or so in Chicago. The grain futures were higher, or at least corn and beans, with only modest reaction to news that the U.S. and Iran have reached an agreement on a 60-day ceasefire deal. It does still require President Trump's approval before signing. It's expected, although not explicitly stated, that the agreement would open the Strait of Hormuz to restore normal trade flows. Crude futures eased yesterday, although It was only about 31 cents down at the close. The prices sunk, but then recovered. Why? I guess there's a little bit of skepticism as to whether or not anything gets started. July-November bean spread got back close to even money because nobody thinks China's coming back for old crop beans. I'm Ryan Martin.
Thanks, Ryan. Let's take a look at how your markets closed yesterday, brought to us by Seed Consultants. Simply better performance. You can learn more online at seedconsultants.com. July corn closed the day up 3 1/4 cents per bushel at $4.55 3/4, and September closed up 4 1/2 cents a bushel at $4.64 1/4. July soybeans closed up 9 1/4 cents at $11.94 1/2, with August beans up 11 1/4 cents at $11.96. July Kansas City wheat closed the day down 4 1/2 cents at $6.65 1/4, but wheat in Chicago for July closed the day up 1 1/2 at $6.24. Thanks for joining us and have a great day, everyone. You're listening to the Ohio AgNet.